Where do you look for scrapbook inspiration? I'm away this week, the next week and a bit, for work, for my day job. And I'm going to Winnipeg, of all places. So I used to live in Winnipeg, or no, outside of Winnipeg, I should say. So I've visited Winnipeg a few times, and I wanted inspiration on some other photos from 2011. So I have these photos from my house here of my garden that this was because we moved in 2009, so this would be the second spring there. And so this is our front flower garden. Well, I wanted ideas of how to use these photos. So the other day I was looking through my scrapbook pages and I came across I'm like, what does downtown Winnipeg look like? What did I do when I was there? So this is right down along the water. My friend Amanda had come to visit, so I took her to a bunch of different places. We went to the Zinneboyne Zoo, so I used one of the cards from there and did some journaling. I didn't take a lot of pictures at the zoo. We went to St. Boniface, which is across the river from downtown Winnipeg, and it has this beautiful old church there. And then this is the other, so this is like a 2-page spread. And then this is the Red River from like looking at the forks from across the river. So this is at St. Boniface. This is looking over there. This page here is looking kind of at St. Boniface, so you can see the church there. So reminiscing about living out in Winnipeg, because we lived out there for 3.5-ish years, something like that. And so I figured this page would be a great page to do to not only talk about me being in Winnipeg. So you'll see me on Instagram sharing some pictures and whatnot of my trip there. So go follow me over there. Excuse me. And you can get me at instagram.com/fromwhereistamp over there. So when I was looking at these pictures, so I have these 3 photos. So it was 1 portrait and 2 landscape. So exactly like this layout here. 1 portrait, 2 landscape. So I've taken this one here and I'm going to put it at the bottom of my layout. So I have it in Night of Navy is the base. And then we have the Countryside in Designer Series paper. So during June, Designer Series paper is 15% off. So instead of $17, it's 14 and some odd cents, which is a great deal on paper. Designer Series paper, this is 12 by 12. So last week I had a video about the Bright and Beautiful. It'll be at the end of this video so that you can go and watch it. How to make a birthday layout using that paper. But we're going to create this, use this inspiration from 2005 to create a page for 2011. All right, and this one is going to be fairly simple. So I love simple scrapbook pages. I love multi-layered pages too, but when it's nice and simple to do the layout, it makes it so if you're someone who's busy, so I work a full-time job, I help run conferences. I have 2 coming up within the next month. It's crazy. So quick and simple scrapbook layouts are the best way to put those pictures somewhere so you can look back at them. And I haven't looked back at those Winnipeg pictures in like forever, but it was so neat to go back and flip through that scrapbook page a couple nights ago and decide that one of them would be a perfect layout. Now, I have this gorgeous paper from the Countryside Inn, and I thought about using this side because it's kind of a plant viewish design, but I like this side better. It made the picture pop more. And you'll notice on the original one that I'm using for inspiration, I used some grosgrain ribbon here. I don't have any ribbon currently, like current ribbon in my stash, so I decided to use some basic white, used to be called Whisper White, so some basic white cardstock as my ribbon. And it's always good to have 12 by 12 basic white cardstock on hand, because if it's something where, like my last video about the birthday layout, I used, what is it, Azure Afternoon cardstock. But if you're wanting to have one color or even two, I would suggest having basic white, very vanilla on hand. Almost called a whisper white again. How dare they rename it? But that's okay. All right, so this one here, we're going to glue onto the bottom flowery thing. But before we do that, we're going to do some stamping here in a minute. So I just wanted to show you how this is all laid out. I probably should have put that white a little bit thinner, but that's all right. So there, this is going to go like that. And this will go like this. Now, in my blog post, which will be linked down in the description, I'll have a list or link to where you can purchase this product, especially if you're in Canada. I would love that if you ordered from me. Also, it'll have directions and some other information about this layout. So for our title, I love these little die cuts we had from the Big Shot way back when, and we don't have small dies like that anymore, but this stamp set, the classic letters, it's available online, online exclusive, so you won't see it in the catalog, but you can still order it. It's there. And I've already stamped most of the word. I got a sticky note, or I don't know, I got something on my finger. Where is that N? Right, I need N, right here. So there's our N. And we're going to use, so this is Misty Moonlight cardstock, which is one of my favorite blues, by the way. And we're going to use this N with Misty, nope, we don't want Misty Moonlight. I love Misty Moonlight. Misty Moonlight's not the one I want to stamp in. All right, let's try this again. So, Night of Navy. All right. Make sure you can kind of see. Yay! It worked. I didn't mess it up. I don't have to stamp it all over again. That's why I like stamping titles on their own strip of cardstock. So this is the same color as my base. I'm trying to put the stamp back in. It has this little sheet on it. So if you take, they come in on a hard plastic, and I put them on the case to match up with the printed insert. And then because it's double-sided, putting the thin plastic back on is important, or else you have the stamps stick together. And because they're photopolymer, they're really sticky if you haven't used them. So I would recommend putting that film still there. All right. So now I'm going to cut my cardstock bigger than what I needed. So now I can trim it down. I'm guesstimating until it looks okay. There we go. Good enough. So last week I used that pack of 12 by 12 cardstock. Do I still have it out? No, it's way over there. It has all the new colors. So the returning in colors that are now core colors and brand new colors, they're all in there. So the Misty Moonlight 12 by 12 is in there. So this is perfect. It's using this, the colors out of this designer series paper, because there's boho blue, which is an in color, so it's not included in that pack, but you can buy a pack of the in color cardstock if you want it, or just use basic white, or basic white as your base instead of the Misty Moonlight. So then down here you might want to have a darker blue design instead of this white design. All right, so because it's garden, I figured the layering leaves stamp set, so it's new in the annual catalog, and this is the bow punch. It's not new, so these aren't bundled. So a bundle would be a stamp set and dies or stamp set and punch that you would save 10% when you purchase them together. So this isn't a bundle. So if you have this bow punch already, the layering leaves stamp set coordinates with it. And I'm not going to use any of the sentiments in there, but I am going to use the foliage here. And when you're stamping, so I have Misty Moonlight and Night of Navy. So I'm going to use Night of Navy. I'm going to do a basic white. I'm going to use a different, so I've stamped some of them already here. You can see, just you don't have to see me stamp and punch, stamp and punch. And where'd that go? Because it's photopolymer, it's always good to have some kind of cushion to get a great stamped image. So just tap, tap, tap. And because this, I always turn it upside down when I'm stamping. So I have an idea to remind myself where or how it lines up. Oh, that needs a little more ink. So where it lines up, like so, whoops, like so. So that way, when I take my punch, I can just push it in to the top, line it up like so, and punch. And I also have a little piece of white flower stem that I can use on my layout. Okay, so simply chamois to clean this up. Put that off to the side, move stuff out of the way so we can put this all together. All right, so now I also chose leaves because this layout has leaves. I missed this stamp set. It was a really cute stamp set. But this stamp set here, because it's leaves, I figured we could use leaves. But because these leaves are a little bigger, I was thinking that it might work. Maybe, possibly. So this might work. I don't know whether we want to do like, I didn't think I wanted it over, so I thought maybe I'd want it under, kind of like this, maybe like this, and maybe like this. And then I could I punched out some of these white pieces, or that's too stark. Maybe that needs to be down here. So then I can, my fingers don't want to pick it up. I'm gonna put this down there, maybe another one. Just do that down there, I don't know, something like that. This would probably be easier if I did stamp one in boho blue and punched it out. It might be easier if I had put some of the adhesive sheets on the back before I punched. So then you're not having to add all this glue onto it. So I think I kind of like that at the top. Do I want it at the top or do I want it at the bottom? Actually, I kind of like it at the bottom. All right, so let's actually do it this way. We're going to use some tear tape. And because we're going to layer it on the underneath this title, we're just going to pull this on there, pull off the back. You can probably hear Flynn playing upstairs with the ball, that crazy puppy. And then, actually, yeah. Well, if we do this, we do this, we do this. This is not working the way I wanted it to. Where'd that go? That's a good idea too. All right, here's a tip. This is, I don't remember what this is called, but it's for adhesive. It's a little dusty. Haven't used it in a long while. But I'm just going to lay it down here because this is going to go up here a little bit. Just a little, something like that. And then we can stick this like this like that, like this, and like that. Then when we put this over top, right? We just pull it up and it doesn't stick. So now it's all stuck to the back and we haven't stuck it to the layout. Good thing I remember that. That made it a lot easier. All right. So we want to use some Stampin' Seal to put just a little bit of adhesive. You don't need a lot, just a little. And these photos are, if you were following me along on Instagram, were from my goal in April, which I think ended up actually being May, but my goal in April to send 200 photos away to print. So I have like 150 photos from 2011. And then I have 50 photos of Griffin and Flynn as puppies, so my 2 dogs. And so now I get to scrapbook them all because I find it easier to scrapbook when I have the photos on hand versus putting photos on after. So I like pulling the theme, like garden. I can actually turn this around here. Oh, I didn't glue that one down. The theme like garden or the colors from the layout or from the photos rather than the other way around. All right, so I think that looks pretty good. There we go, I like that. The back of here, we're just going to use some of the liquid adhesive. So I don't like using liquid adhesive on the back of my photos because if I need to take the photos out, 1, the liquid may damage your photo. 2, if you need to take photos out for whatever reason, it'll be hard to take that adhesive off and probably hard to take it out off your layout as well. So this way, with using the Stampin' Seal on the back, if we needed to take a photo out, then we can do that. All right, so now maybe I'll just tuck it in behind. I probably should have done that before I glued it on. That's okay. So we have a fine tip on here. You can also use glue dots, or if you were thinking a little bit farther ahead than I did, use those adhesive sheets on the back before you stamped and punched. So we're just going to put these like this. And you kind of can't see these because of the design, but that's okay. It just creates a little bit of difference to it. All right. Use up those punched pieces. Okay. And then this here. So then later I'll come back and add in some journaling to the layout, and I'll probably take some boho blue cardstock and put it over there. And write on it first before I glue down. So that way if I make a mistake, I can just start with a new piece rather than having to cover it up or pull it off and wreck my layout. All right, so I think that is it for this layout. So let's have a look at the original. So if you need scrapbook inspiration, looking back at pages you've done in the past are a great way to stop that block of what do you create. Scrapbook sketches, watching YouTube videos, going to Pinterest and looking there, and being inspired by other scrapbookers is a perfect way. But if you don't want to spend the time online, grab a scrapbook that you have off the out of your storage, like behind me. Not all of these are full, by the way, but some of them do have pages in them. So this is 2005, and then this is 2011. So now I have my photos in there of our house, of a fresh garden that we put in. Now I can tell you I don't have those flowers in there anymore. Of course, they only lasted for the year, but the hostas are still there, but they got moved around. And it's really interesting to look back at photos to see how much has changed. And you could, if you didn't have enough photos for this layout, you could take a photo from this year so you could take this is 2011 and this is this year and do a comparison layout. So that's an option for you too. So reminder in the description, is the link to my blog post where you'll find more information about this layout, some close-up photos, as well as the link to purchase and the list of products used. We'll see you next week, and make sure to follow me on Instagram to see my adventures in Winnipeg.